Hello, everyone. It's Dr. T. I'm a tech trainer and career coach, and I help professionals transition to tech by leveraging their existing skills and abilities. Today, I'd like to talk to you about a recent certification that I obtained and give you the background information on qualifying for the cert and just give you that feedback in terms of your ability to possibly transition into this workspace as well. So, the PCIP is the Pay Card Industry Professional Certification. The certification focuses on data security standards designed to ensure that companies that accept, process, store, or transmit credit card information maintain a secure environment. The PCI data security standards were established to protect sensitive cardholder data. And by that, I mean the data focused around your credit cards and your debit cards. So the focus is really on reducing the risk of data breaches and fraud. The PCI Data Security Standards is a collective, collaborative effort by the major credit card companies. So Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Discover, and JCB. These requirements cover areas such as network security, access controls, encryption, regular monitoring, and security policy implementation. The PCI DSS consists of 12 high-level requirements, which are further divided into specific controls and sub-controls. The requirements cover key data security areas to include building a secure network, protecting cardholder data through encryption, and implementing strong access controls. Compliance with PCI DSS is typically mandatory for any organization that handles pay card information. And so if we think about it, credit cards and debit cards are accepted around the world. So there's global opportunities in this space for work. So failure to comply with these standards may result in fines, legal consequences, and damage to an organization's reputation. So you understand that organizations are often very focused on this requirement and this compliance area, and they're required to also undergo regular assessments and audits to demonstrate their compliance with PCI DSS. So there are various roles that you might think of that you could transition into based on your previous background and experience as it relates to PCI data security compliance. So things like network administration, where network administrators are responsible for managing and securing the network infrastructure. So things like firewalls, routers, and other network devices. A system administrator is valuable to PCI DSS compliance. System admins are responsible for configuring, maintaining the security of servers and systems that actually store and process cardholder information. So they implement policies for security patches. They maintain user access, and they ensure just the overall security of systems. Security analysts play a role in PCI DSS compliance. They monitor and analyze security events. They conduct vulnerability assessments, and they respond to security incidents. So they contribute to the ongoing compliance efforts by identifying and addressing threats to security. A compliance officer is vital to PCI DSS compliance. They coordinate assessments and audits, and then they oversee remediation efforts in order to maintain that compliance from an ongoing perspective. Internal auditors. They conduct periodic assessments of the organization's processes, controls, and they seek to ensure compliance and sustainability of the compliance programs. You may be a member of a risk management team, and this team manages the risk associated with cardholder data and ensures that appropriate risk mitigation measures are in place. They work to identify and address vulnerabilities that could impact the PCI DSS compliance. HR has a role in PCI DSS compliance. Human resources are responsible for ensuring that employees are aware of and trained on security policies and procedures. And we know that threats from a cyber and a security perspective are ongoing and imminent. So there's always a need for training, and typically HR tracks and monitors all the staff's compliance to the training requirements for their specific role and just organizational wide. So I believe that there's room for each of us as we look at that entry point, building that foundational knowledge, and then finding a specific role that we could move into based on our past experience and our skill set. So I decided back in October that I would build upon my assessment and information security management skill set and focus on PCI. So I sort of looked around and found out what the requirements were and then what was on the horizon for the requirements. So currently there's version 3.2.1 of the PCIP data security standards and requirements that are out there. But as of March 31st of 2024, each company will need to start working on their processes, procedures, their systems, their controls to get ready for compliance. And compliance is mandated by March 31st of 2025. So I took a look at the requirements, felt very comfortable with what I was able to read at a high level, and decided that I would sign up for training and so that I could sit for the exam. So I moved from that awareness and checking in my skill set and understanding where I would fit in to now applying to actually take the course and take the exam. So I logged into PCI's website and I submitted the PCIP registration form. And you need to do that in order to receive login credentials to actually complete the application. So I submitted the form and then I received the login credentials, and I also received a training invoice. You can't take the exam without demonstrating that you have undergone the prerequisite training. So I received the invoice, I paid it, and then within a day or two, I received my training course login. So that gave me access to the 6-hour online prerequisite that covered the foundational knowledge. I opted for the e-learning approach versus instructor-led or virtual course option to cover the material. So I logged in, was able to see what the course outline was, what the module topics were and subtopics were, and then I also got information on the exam process. So at a high level, there are 12 requirements that make up the PCI data security standards. So the content within that e-learning module gave an overview, and then it actually deep dived into each of the 12 requirements and how they are assessed, and just the reporting requirements for PCI DSS. So it really was a comprehensive course. The course was built of modules, knowledge checks, which were like quizzes, and then there were videos from members of the PCI Council that kind of drove home the key points of the module. So I thought that was great to have, varying modalities within that e-learning approach to the materials. So I signed up for the course in October, probably mid-October, and by mid-November, I completed the modules. And yes, it says it's a 6-hour online set of modules, but I took my time, deep dived, took notes from the content as well as from the knowledge checks. So I was able to build like a study set of content that I could use outside of being logged into the course. So I built my study packet, and I devoted about 10 hours a week across the Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's holiday. So it took quite a bit of time for me to make it through because I had other obligations. But I was able to devote that 10 hours, and then I studied up until bedtime the night before the exam. I just wanted to make certain that I was fresh and I had the information and I felt very comfortable. So I built myself a study plan that ended the night before. After studying and completing my review that night before, I showed up to the test site because I opted for the on-site monitored approach to taking the exam. So I showed up at the test site, and you have to be there 30 minutes before the test in order to check in, and that checking in involves presenting your ID and providing a signature sample. So there are quite a few pieces to checking in. So it's advised that you get there 30 minutes before, make it through that process, and then I was led into the training room and I sat down to a laptop and logged in. They logged me in for the exam. The exam consists of 75 questions, and you have 90 minutes to complete the exam. It took me about, I think it registered 63 minutes to make it through. And that included going through the test, highlighting questions that I wanted to review. I answered all of them up front because I never want to not have every question answered and, potentially run out of time. Answered all the questions, marked some for review, and I was able to go back through the ones that I had marked for review and just, double check my answer, and then at the end hit submit, and you get an on-screen answer of whether you passed or failed. So I got my pass on the screen, did my little quiet celebration because I was in there with someone else who was taking, I believe, some form of nursing exam. So I couldn't disturb her, and got up, let the proctor know. He came over and verified my results, and then sent me out to check out. So by the time I checked out, got to my car, and left the facility, within about an hour, I got an email with that same pass-fail result, and did another celebration, and then probably about a day or two after that, a day or two after getting the email with the pass-fail, I got the Credly email that allowed me to accept my PCIP badge. So I was excited about that as well, and immediately shared that with my network because a lot of folks were rooting for me within LinkedIn. And I'm still waiting on the results, more detailed report of the results, but the on-screen notification and the email indicated that I would get that in 10 working days. So I just wanted to share this with you. I do plan to walk through the 12 sets of requirements for pay card industry data security. And I do also plan to walk through some of the roles that will be linked to companies that are looking to move from version 3.2.1 to version 4.0, and then to maintain compliance. So remember, the version 4.0 requirement is in effect March 31st, 2025. So we have time to cover the requirements, talk about the industry, and talk about those global opportunities that come out of this, because credit cards are accepted around the globe, and varying levels of merchants are involved in the ecosystem, and their compliance requirements are based on the volume of credit cards that they accept on an annual basis. So I hope you'll join me. I hope that you will like, share, and subscribe. And if you have any questions about the eligibility process, leave them below. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.